What's up, everyone? Back from another video. Today we are going to be watching scary stories. Hopefully there is no bad words included, because if there is, I do not know how to get rid of the bad words, because I don't even know how to edit. So the first one we'll be watching, I had it but I cannot find it anymore. Where is it? Yes, I am here. Oh, the creepy deep wait. Oh no, this one swears, so we can't watch that one. I've seen that one. Where is it though? I haven't seen this one before, so I'll try this one.
I was 11 years old at the time. It was a horrible event. I lived in Texas, but my family decided to go to California during the summer of 2015. It wasn't going to be a long time, so my family of 6, including me, stayed at my aunt's house. One night, my parents went to a party, and both of my brothers and I didn't want to go, so we stayed behind.
Alright, hold up, children. How old are you? I don't know if it said yet, but you should probably go with your parents. Yeah.
My aunt's daughter stayed with us too.
Wait,
It was around
what
6
the heck is on
p.m.
that TV?
My parents said they were coming back around 2 a.m. Hearing that gave me goosebumps, since we were staying at a 2-story house. I've always been scared of 2-story houses for this reason.
Why?
As soon as our parents left, we all decided to eat snacks. We wanted to, but there weren't any.
There.
My cousin asked us if we wanted to go to the store with her. Since she was already 19, she could drive by herself.
Well, you ain't
My
driving.
brother said yes, but I told him I do want snacks, but I don't want to go. I thought that my brothers would want to stay behind too, since they were just 2 years older than me. But instead, they just said, okay. They all left without me. I was all alone.
Jesus.
15 minutes in, I was sitting on the couch playing on my iPad. Suddenly, I heard a sound coming from upstairs. I decided to check what it was, but as soon as I started to go up the stairs, a glass cup fell down the stairs. I ran to my uncle's room and hid inside the closet. After 2 minutes of hiding, the lights in the room started flashing. I could see it from the crack under the door. I wanted to text my brother, but I left the iPad on the couch. Soon after, I heard another sound from upstairs. Well, that's how I knew that whatever was doing all the scary stuff was definitely upstairs.
That was creepy.
I decided to run out of the house, and then tried to ask the next door neighbors to let me into their house for a bit. But before I could, I checked the upstairs window when I got outside, and I saw a figure in one of the rooms. It was a clear image since it was barely 7 p.m. The figure was definitely the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I saw a woman with a black dress. She was pale and had dark eyes. It was as if she accidentally messed up her makeup and got black makeup all around her eyes. She also looked kind of like a nun.
Thing is,
I
this phone
stood
screen's
there,
kind of big,
watching her for like 10 seconds. And then I saw a car driving in from the side. I moved near the garage, and the car came closer.
The screen might be small. Okay, that alarm's gonna start going
Parked
off
at the house.
like every single minute.
I realized it was my cousin with both of my brothers. I was relieved. They asked me why I was outside, and I said I wanted to take a picture of the house from outside. I didn't tell them the truth.
Totally.
They didn't realize I didn't have my iPad when I said this. Once we got inside the house, I followed them upstairs. I was obviously behind them since I was
Stop
scared.
coming off your dumb alarm.
Nothing happened the rest of the day, until that night.
Oh.
It was 10 p.m.
Okay.
It was raining. I just wanted to see the thunder, so I moved the curtains to look out the window. A bit of light came in because of the lightning, and that's when I saw it again. The figure was in the neighbor's parkway,
She could be called
just staring at the house.
Jenny. What's up, Jenny?
I will never forget that night, no matter how hard I try.
Hey, Jenny.
Sometimes, while I'm having fun, I'll stop and remember, and the thought always ruins my day. The thought that the woman from that night might always be out there, looking for me.
Sorry guys, I need to...
Xero accounting software gives businesses the
Am I the
tools
only one that
to take
hates
care of
adverts? So, I guess the next one could maybe be sleepover stories. Thing is,
This happened when I was 15 years old. My best friend Anthony wanted me to come over for the night since his parents would be gone all weekend. I rode my bike over and put it in his backyard before letting myself in through his back door. We played basically every video game he had, from FIFA all the way to Call of Duty, with popcorn and other junk food spilled out all over the floor. As the night progressed, we moved from video games to watching half a movie and getting bored, to doing prank calls at close to 10 o'clock. Anthony made a few calls to different pizza places. When it was my turn, I just dialed a few random numbers in hopes to get someone at their house. On, say, my fourth attempt, I finally reached somebody. A guy with a deep and rough voice picked up, answering with a yeah instead of a hello. Anthony's laughing in the background made me stumble with my words mid-sentence, ultimately cracking up into laughter. I had never done a prank call, so I sucked at it. The guy on the other end was silent. I regained a straight face and tried to continue with the call. It went something like this. Sir, would it be alright if I borrowed one of the wheels from your car? What's your name, kid? My name is Bob. Really? You sure it's not Anthony? It hit me like a brick. I looked up at Anthony, whose face was noticeably full of fear. I hung up the phone, not wanting to be on the line with whoever that was for another second. Anthony, who the hell was that? I asked him. I don't know, he told me. Does your caller ID info display your name or something? No, it shows my dad's name. We hopped on the computer and did some research, trying to figure out how it was possible to get someone's name through their phone number. It didn't make sense how he could get Anthony's name so quickly. He was way too young at the time to be on any of those personal information sharing websites. We ended up asking a question on Yahoo Answers, since no one had a similar experience. The question turned up no answers. I suggested he call his dad, but he said he wasn't supposed to have anybody over for the weekend, so he didn't want to call. We planned on sleeping in the living room, so we just resumed watching the movie that we hadn't finished from earlier.
I sleep upstairs.
Right after the phone call had left my mind,
I'm in my bed,
me and Anthony looked at each other when we heard his front storm door opening, and then the doorknob to the front door began to turn.
Ooh, got it. No, bye.
It only was able to turn about halfway before the lock restricted it. Anthony turned off the TV, and I went over to the window to see who it was. I spread the blinds open. There was a tall guy standing outside.
He's gonna look at us.
He noticed the blinds moving
and
turned to look at me.
What's up?
I practically threw the blinds back into place. Me and Anthony hid in the kitchen, listening for any more noises. We heard the sound of the gate to the backyard opening.
Oh no, I hate that.
Outside the kitchen window.
I hate that sound.
God damn it, I said. I forgot to shut the back door. Anthony urged me to run and shut it. I made it to the hallway leading to his back door and froze. There was a silhouette standing outside the back door. I don't think he noticed me, but he was surely looking into the house. He opened the door and stepped inside. I tiptoed to the kitchen and motioned for Anthony to follow me upstairs. We made it to his room as quietly as possible, pulling the door shut to avoid making any noise.
This is scary. Like someone's going to jump out the camera and give me
he had cloth covering the bottom of his bed, so you couldn't see anything under it unless you actually moved the cloth.
I hate the real creepy, like the real one.
The doors downstairs all opened, each one getting closer to the stairs. Thumps finally began up the stairs, and he was right outside the door now.
Get off the
door to the room
shotgun,
opened.
shoot him in the face, and then, yeah.
I could hear Anthony's breathing.
This was your PG.
It was too loud. Footsteps moved over to the closet, and then the closet opened.
Oh no.
I could hear the coat hangers being slid around as the fabric of the jackets and coats rubbed against each other. Footsteps moved over to the bed and stopped. I felt like my heart was about to explode out of my chest.
Don't breathe. Don't
Anthony's breathing was too loud. I had to cover his mouth with my hand.
What exactly you said.
Nothing but silence in the room now.
Oh my gosh. Phew.
We laid still for so long.
Get out of that
I almost
house
thought
now.
he
We'll
wasn't
get
even
that
in the
shotgun,
room
then shoot
anymore.
him, then get the house.
I moved my hand away from Anthony's mouth
But you'll
and
probably
whispered
get
in
killed.
his ear, "You think we can make a run for it?" He was about to answer when the most disturbing, memory-haunting scream I'd ever heard
Oh god.
filled my ears as Anthony was
This is gonna be
seemingly
a real
dragged out
scream.
from under the bed.
Is
I
he
crawled
okay?
out and saw him struggling
God.
with the man. I
Oh, God.
desperately looked around for anything to use as a weapon.
Oh, screwdriver.
I settled with the screwdriver sitting on his nightstand. I hurried over to the man and drove the screwdriver into his back. He let go of Anthony as he let out a scream of agony, giving us
It's
time
in
to
his
get the
head.
hell out of the house. Running onto the road would give away our position too easily. It would take too long to make it to his neighbor's house. We dove for the tree line in the woods and took cover behind a bush, watching the house.
I just keep running.
The back door opened as the man stepped outside, looking around the backyard.
Literally call these guys.
He then
Well,
looked out to the woods.
Just keep
I
these
felt
guys.
his eyes pass
Alright,
me
what
as he
now?
scanned through the tree line. It seemed that it was too dark for him to see us.
How about he be
Then
called?
he turned his head
Like,
back in our direction.
stop choosing
I
people's
ducked
names.
behind the bush. "Joe, he's coming." "What?"
Oh, Joe with me
"Dude,
and
get up, we
Blake.
gotta run." He was right. The man was approaching us fast. How could he have seen us? We ran through the woods with the leaves crunching under us, giving away our position. When Anthony tripped over something, I crouched down with him, hoping we had run far enough. Not even 20 seconds later, oncoming footsteps from the direction we were running from came fast. They slowed down only 2 trees away from us as we lay face down in the leaves. Moments later, the footsteps take off in another direction. We waited until we could no longer hear them and took off back in the direction of the house. While running, over the sound of leaves crushing and my heavy breathing, I could swear I heard leaves crushing from behind us. We made it back to his backyard, into his house, and this time remembering to shut the back door. We were now able to call the police. Anthony stayed on the line with them, while I patrolled the back windows, making sure nobody was out there. It was so dark, though, I couldn't see anything. So I did something that seems stupid today. I turned on his backyard lights, and immediately in the distance, over by the woods, I saw him, standing in front of a big tree.
Oh god.
He turned off back into the woods and disappeared out of sight. That was the last time me or Anthony ever saw him. I would be lying if I told you we heard the occasional knocks at our windows or something cliche. No, that was it. 5 years have passed and nothing has happened.
Oh god.
Do I wonder if it was somehow linked to the prank call? Maybe. Does it make sense? Not really. But yeah, this was the story of how me and my still best friend Anthony almost died during a break-in.
Spawn this one. Alright. I know what's this one as well.
When I was a kid, my parents would sometimes bring me down to my aunt and uncle's place to stay for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Mainly, I'd spend time playing with my 2 cousins who were around the same age as me. They lived on a small farm with plenty of open space, and we could run around doing pretty much whatever we wanted. If we thought we could get away with it, the 3 of us would sometimes cross over to the neighboring farm about half a mile away. It had been abandoned for decades, with a scattering of derelict buildings and other structures still standing on the property, just begging to be explored. This was, of course, a gold mine for 3 adventurous young boys such as ourselves, especially after my cousins told me stories about the deaths that took place in the house. It was pretty classic fare. Man goes crazy, axe murders his entire family, hangs himself, returns every night as an angry spirit looking for new victims.
Okay.
Good, grisly stuff. Even at that age, I knew they were probably making it up, or at least embellishing old rumors. But seeing as how the setting lent itself so well to such tales, I allowed myself to buy into it.
My god, you're dumb.
One afternoon, we decided to play hide and seek. When it was my turn to hide, I ran off for a flimsy brown barn that had living quarters on top, and climbed the stairs looking for a good spot. There was still furniture inside, and personal belongings lay scattered across the floor. I maneuvered over broken dishes, tattered clothes, and crumbling books, eventually coming to a small room with a closet. Jackpot.
There were even long black dresses still hanging on the rod that I could hide behind. I stepped inside and managed to force shut the folding door.
Oh God.
My only illumination was a slit of sunlight that shone through the crack in the door from a nearby window. I crouched down with knees tucked into chest and waited. Some time passed and there was still no sign of my seekers. I waited some more, debating if and when I should give myself up. After nearly an hour, this was starting to get boring. My head drooped. I woke with a jerk.
Okay.
It was pitch black. Drowsy and confused, I forgot for a minute where I was or what I had been doing. As it came back to me, the realization that it was now nighttime and that I had been abandoned here filled me with sinking dread in the pit of my stomach. I tried to get up, but a sudden cramp in my calf kept me grounded. I squirmed about, waiting for it to pass, when I heard a door slamming shut downstairs, and instantly froze.
Maybe get an RPG.
One of my cousins? There was a brief
minigun.
period of silence,
And an RPG.
then footsteps at the bottom of the
Maybe it's
stairs.
an RPG. It's an RPG.
But not just footsteps, a
That's what I
thud
thought.
too.
Sorry.
After every other step. These weren't the footfalls of a
Oh,
child.
oh, what the hell is
Slow,
that?
heavy
What the hell is that little thing in that left corner next to the toys? That is not a toy. That's probably a murderous doll that you should get away right now.
Deliberate. I held my breath, praying they would go away. They did not. The noises continued to ascend.
No, be able to this bit on YouTube. I like this bit of the
After
video
another moment of
on
silence, the
YouTube
walking
from the start.
resumed,
But
this
Jesus.
time along with a steady scraping sound, like something heavy being dragged across the floorboards.
You've got
The
this kid's got
footsteps
a
made
brick.
their way through the
He's
debris and
got a
wandered
brick.
aimlessly through the various rooms. I thought I could smell something faintly putrid. The constant scrape sent cold shivers coursing down my arms and back. My worst fears were realized when the steps reached the bedroom doorway. They got closer and closer and finally stopped directly in front of the closet door.
Oh hell no!
I couldn't see a thing. After an agonizing pause, they continued on over to the other side of the room and out the doorway again. They faded away down the hallway. I waited for what seemed like an eternity. There were no more sounds now, and I was trying to build up enough courage to open the door and flee.
There's too
Three
boring.
things happened simultaneously just then. I was bombarded with a smell I can only describe as fresh roadkill.
Oh God.
I heard raspy breathing behind me in the dark closet, and I felt hot breath against the nape of my neck. That was enough for me to hurtle myself out from the confines of that nightmare space, relying on memory and scant moonlight to navigate through the darkened
Wait,
house.
wait. That doll's looking at us now. How are you looking at us? How is this doll looking at us now? Great.
All the while, I heard footsteps chasing behind me, closing in with terrifying speed. It was a clumsy, torturous escape full of trips and bumps and blind stumbling. I never looked back, at least not until I had burst out the front door and into the country night. And when I did turn around, I saw absolutely nothing.
Oh God.
There were no more footsteps and nobody was chasing me.
Get the
That
minigun
didn't
back.
stop me from
and then
running
destroy
though,
that
all
house.
the way back to my aunt and uncle's
Oh,
house.
nice.
There was a police car in the driveway when I got back. My parents were there too, worried sick. Everybody demanded to know where I had been. Apparently, when my cousins still hadn't found me by evening, they'd returned home to tell their parents. Eventually, the police were called in and informed me that they had already scoured every building on the farm. The insinuation that I was lying about my whereabouts didn't go unnoticed. None of it made any sense.
Oh,
It
God.
wasn't until years later that one of my cousins filled in a final piece of the story. He and his brothers had spent hours searching for me like they said, but the part they didn't tell anyone was that they thought they spotted me in the window of the bedroom I was hiding in. And when they got closer, they saw that it wasn't me. A young boy neither of them recognized was smiling
Oh,
and
no, it's
waving
probably
down
that
at them
man's
and gesturing for them to come upstairs. That's when they ran back home. All of this while I slept in the closet.
Well, yeah, okay.
At Fabletics, we kind of have a thing
Guys,
for
not what am I
pockets.
to put on?
Side pockets, hidden pockets,
Whatever.
even bra
Right,
pockets.
so-
And now our best-selling pocket
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this really
It was an early
short,
morning.
boring video, no one cares about you. Oh, stop Infinite. No, we don't care about that. Just don't shout out to these people on that. I haven't got a shout out. I'll face here. I'll just go in here. Let me just go in here. There we go. Alright, so if you guys enjoyed this, so make sure to leave that down below. Subscribe if you're new. And tell other people about me because I really, really need to get views and likes because I'm so lonely and I never graduated yet. Giovanni, you're only 8 years old, I know. It makes no sense. Well, I haven't graduated nursery. So they're still in nursery. No, I'm in school. Nursery, school, nursery, school. Okay, what about that school series? That was just a one-time thing. I need to get rid of that. That's my mom's name, so yep. Draw. No, we're not going to draw Giovanni. Just draw a yellow circle. So I stop drawing on the camera. No, I'm not going to stop drawing. I'm not going to stop drawing. Giovanni, stop drawing. No, I'm not going to stop. Giovanni. What? It's clear. Let's get black. Why? Oh, no, you're not. No. Wait. Bye. Bye. Yeah, sorry, I'll just go. I'm just a mistake. See you.